This is Jared Horak for today's RacingDigest.com, and my Today's Racing Digest video series continues Saturday, January 11th, 2020. We're going to do 3 races. We're going to give out win contenders for 1 stakes race at Santa Anita, 2 stakes races at Gulfstream Park. And we've been giving out some top choice winners recently. We had Omaha Beach a couple weeks back in the Malibu Stakes at Santa Anita. Last week we had Authentic at Santa Anita in the Grade 3 Sham Stakes, a Kentucky Derby 2020 points race. Let's see if we can get some more top choice winners home and maybe a little more value than those two. Let's start at Santa Anita. We're going to do the 3rd race, the Grade 3 Las Cienegas Stakes, 5.5 furlongs on the turf course. Let's pull up the fast figs. We have a 5-horse field here, and you'll see from the fast figs that Storm the Hill has a 132. He has a 10-point edge over Kentan Road, probable pace setter, with a 122, and then an Eddie Surprise coming off of a win in at 5.5 furlongs at Santa Anita against lesser company, getting a 121. Now your morning line favorite in here is going to be the 3 Jolie Olimpica. Doesn't have a fast fig because that one hasn't run in this country yet. She ran 3 times in Brazil. She won all of those, and they were very easy victories and at longer distances. This is going to be her first start in more than 7 months. Mike Smith's going to ride for her new trainer, Richard Mandella. Let's see if she needs the race. Let's see where she fits in her first race in the U.S. She's 6-5. I don't want to play her as the favorite. Now, I mentioned Kentan Road, the 2, the 1 to catch. She's just going to go out there and she's going to go fast. She's a speed horse that doesn't really go slow. She just, even though she looks possibly the lone speed, she's not going to go slow. She'll set honest fractions. She's really good at 5 furlongs on turf, maybe not quite against this kind of company, but now she's got to go 5.5, and that does make a difference. 5 furlongs, we saw it a lot of times when Santa Anita was running 5 furlong races. Speed was really good. When you got to 5.5 and you got a contested pace, the late runners had a much better chance. So Kentan Road will take them as far as she can. The 4 and Eddie Surprise, very, very consistent horse. Finishes in the top 3 often at Santa Anita on the turf course. Nice win last time. It was my top choice last time on January 4th. Nice win against Optional Claiming Company at 5.5 furlongs on turf. She's going to be stalking the pace. Maybe she can get into the exacta and maybe beat some of these other favorites. Maybe a win is a little bit of a stretch, but she could certainly at least come in. We mentioned Jolie Olimpica. She's going to take a lot of money. She obviously has talent. Let's see where she fits. I'm going to go with number 1, Storm the Hill. 9-5 morning line. Now she's turning back in distance. She likes this turf course. She's always run well at Santa Anita. Now she hasn't run at the 5.5 furlong distance, and she's been routing lately against graded company, but she can sprint. She was really good down the hill. Now, this race used to be run down the hill at 6.5 furlongs, but they're not running downhill races anymore at Santa Anita. I really don't know why. It's not like the downhill course isn't safe. We could have another whole video on that, but they're not running at that distance. They're running 5.5 furlongs instead. Flavien Prat's going to ride, and she's won. The class of the field certainly looks like it, unless Jolie Olimpica is really good. She should get some pace to chase. She's going to save ground behind the pace, and she's going to be finishing. And number 1, Storm the Hill is my top choice in the Las Cienegas. Let's jump over to Gulfstream Park, race 8, the Grade 3 Marshua's River. 1 mile and a 16th on the turf course. Now in this race, there doesn't seem to be a ton of pace. And some horses that could be affected by the lack of pace, the 3 Magic Star, 9-2. Now he was a good second in his turf debut at Saratoga. Actually, she was a good second at Saratoga. That was a good effort at 1 mile and a 16th. First start against winners, even money favorite. She ended up finishing 6th in a 12-horse field. Now that was a disappointing effort. They paid $500,000 for this one. Chad Brown trainee, lightly raced, has some upside. Just don't know if she's going to get enough pace help. The 5 Andina Del Sur is your 2-1 morning line favorite. Now this one, she did run well in her last 4 turf starts, couple of wins there, and she did trade decisions with today's rival, Sweet By and By. That was in her last 2 races. So Andina Del Sur will be coming from off the pace. She's in decent form. She's solid enough, but she's hardly a standout. The 7 Munchkin Money, 7-2 morning line, likes the Gulfstream Park turf course, and I like her running style versatility. If the pace is slower, she can sit closer and stalk the pace. If it's quicker, she can sit back and make a run. Most likely it's going to be slower, and she's going to be a little bit closer to the pace in this spot. I'm going to go with the 4 Sweet By and By, 5-2 morning line. I think she can steal this race. There's not a lot of pace in here. I think she's going to try to get to the front from post 4. She's very consistent on turf. And Luis Saez is going to ride. He's a good speed rider. So look for Luis Saez to send Sweet By and By right out to the front in the Marshua's River and hopefully be able to go wire to wire. Gulfstream Park Race 10, the Grade 3 Tropical Turf, a mile on the turf course. Now, when I just talked about the Marshua's River, I said there wasn't a lot of pace, and I went with possible pace setter. In this race, I'm going to go for an off-the-pace type because it looks like there's a lot of pace. The 4 Gidu only knows one way to go. The 7 Gemonteer, 10-1 morning line. That one likes to go to the front. And then also your morning line favorite, the 8, A Thread of Blue. That horse only likes to go right out there and set the pace. You have 3 horses that like to set the pace. Now, Thread of Blue is going to take a lot of money. His first start against older company in a pace scenario that might not be to his liking. Now, he is 3 for 3 on the Gulfstream Park turf course. For trainer Karen McLaughlin, he's a threat, but I think he's going to be softened up enough to maybe get vulnerable in the late going and somebody can pass him. Now, some horses that could be coming from off the pace that are going to be prices of the 1 Empire of War, 10-1 morning line. Now, I'm not sure what to make of this one. Has run on turf 6 times with 2 wins, but out of those 6 races was only on firm turf 1 time and didn't run particularly well that time. But he needed his fairgrounds return in the Woodchopper Stakes on December 28th. And I think second start off of a layoff, second start for trainer Mike Maker with Javier Castellano aboard from the inside post, stalking the pace, could work out a decent trip. The 3 Big Agenda, light on numbers, but 20-1 morning line, very consistent, probably going to sit a good stalking trip, hits the board fairly often. So this is one that I think you can throw in underneath. I'm not sure about Win. He's not quite fast enough on paper anyway, but at 20-1, third or fourth, certainly if you're playing trifectas and superfectas, consider that one. But I'm going to go with the 9 Exulting because the paper race certainly seems to set up for an off-the-pace type. Like I mentioned, at least 3 speed horses. Exulting is 6-1 morning line. Didn't get the right setup last time in the Fort Lauderdale Stakes. That was a grade 2 at Gulfstream at 9 furlongs on December 14th. Now he's 0 for 5 overall on turf, but he did hit the board in a couple of those races. His numbers very competitive with the top contenders in this race. So he owns the competitive numbers. He gets the right pace set up, at least on paper. Irad Ortiz Jr. is going to ride. He does good work with trainer Mike Maker. So there's some positives here. Maybe not the most likely winner of the race, but from a value standpoint, the way that the race shapes up could be a good bet at 6-1. So number 9, Exulting, my top choice in the top tropical park turf at Gulfstream Park. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, make some comments in the comments section. Who do you like in some of these stakes races on January 11th at Santa Anita and Gulfstream Park? If you want the complete digest from Santa Anita or Gulfstream Park, you can get the complete digest at todaysracingdigest.com. Also, if you're interested in the fast figs, I mentioned them from the Las Cienegas. They're $3 a card. You can get those $3 for Santa Anita, $3 for the Gulfstream card. My full card analysis also available January 11th from Santa Anita Park and each and every day at Santa Anita Park. And I'm going to have bonus stakes races like the stakes races at Gulfstream and Aqueduct as well. And that will wrap up this week's video. I'll be back next week with another stakes race for around the country.